2008 was a season of redemption for the Rowan University football program. After finishing 4-6 in 2007, this year's version of the Profs posted an 8-2 record despite having just 5 seniors on the roster.
I think last year, 4-6, we weren't that far off. I think if you look at a lot of the losses, they were by a touchdown or less. So I don't think we were that far off last year, but certainly weren't able to win games. I think the team was determined coming back from last year that they wanted to fare much better this year. And I think they did do that from spring camp all the way through into training camp. And plus I think it was a lot of younger players who just didn't know any better. So they quickly bought into all the different changes and some things we did different this year as opposed to last year, and they just believed in themselves, and I thought that's what made us so successful this year.
Work ethic and leadership is probably the biggest difference, you know. There's like no talent-wise because we were really talented last year, but I think that's the biggest difference. Just going out there, just going after practice in a different way, just having a different mentality, just being collective as one entire unit, not focusing as offense and defense, because our theme this year was together, and I feel we really preached that.
Behind developing offensive and defensive lines, the young and energetic Profs improved week in and week out. Rowan's defensive front of Kyle Kane, Matt Hoffman, and Justin Hines made up 3 of the top 7 NJAC sack leaders. Meanwhile, the offensive line helped Rowan rush for nearly 30 yards more per game than any other team in the conference.
It's kind of funny watching film every week. Every week we got more comfortable together as a group, and anyone we threw in there, I think we played close to 7, 8 guys a game, and anyone we threw in there, it just kept on flowing.
Switching to the 4-man line was a big thing because it created like a lot of one-on-one matchups. You know, me moving inside was an advantage for me because I still had defensive end quickness, which would help me a lot to work on guards and and centers and different things like that. And having 2 great athletes on the edge with Matt Hoffman and Kyle Kane, and then definitely Frank Alexis doing a big job as a freshman, stepping in and doing things like that, it really helped us, to create good matchups. And Coach Aldridge, he was a godsend pretty much this year. He worked in a lot of things that he did in the NFL into our package this year, and just setting up a lot of great stunts up front to help us get to the quarterback a lot better.
Quarterback Frank Wilczynski was the key piece of the Profs' puzzle. The junior transferred from the University of Delaware and quickly gained a firm grasp on the Rowan offense. A mobile signal caller, Wilczynski finished 5th in the NJAC in rushing while tossing 19 touchdowns and just 8 interceptions.
Mitch Brown, his high school coach right down the street, Overbrook High School, had said all along through the years that, Frank was just a special player and a special person. And finally he did end up here. We weren't sure in the spring, but he looked really good. We weren't really sure in the fall, but he looked really good. But again, the question was how could he do it in live fire? And I don't think until maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks we realized how special of a football player he could be at the quarterback position. And I don't think he realized it either because he hadn't played quarterback since high school. So there's no question he was a nice addition, a nice spark. Very similar to Mike Oriel's situation. He was a young man that was ready to give up football, ready to give up the quarterback position. A lot of people told him that he couldn't, but he wanted to give it one last chance, and I'm glad we gave him that opportunity.
After an opening day win at Bridgewater State, Rowan suffered a setback with a 27-20 home loss against ranked opponent Portland State in Week 2. The Profs bounced back, though, winning 6 straight games to set up a matchup of 7-1 teams when they traveled to Montclair State. Unfortunately, the Profs struggled in the first half against the Red Hawks and dropped the contest 30-14. Still, though, Rowan remained alive. A convincing 42-3 win over rival TCNJ in the final game of the regular season gave the Profs a fighting chance for an at-large playoff bid. However, the cards fell the wrong way for the Profs, and the selection committee left Rowan out of the playoff picture.
It was probably one of the tougher things that I've ever had to deal with because it's just hearing the things that they said. They said how Curry jumped both of us to get into the playoffs, jumped both us and Montclair. It was just kind of crazy. So it kind of sucks. It was all 4 of our roommates. So it was me, Kenny, Michael Rosenfeld, and Jimmy DiPaolo, all sitting down eating, and we were watching the selection show, and we were just listening. And we saw the teams come up, and we saw how they moved in, Randolph-Macon and different things, a 6-4 team, and it's just a lot of bad things happen, But what can you do? You just got to live and learn from things, and that's one thing you got to learn from.
Despite the disappointment, the team confidently looks ahead to next season.
We lose a couple of key guys, but returning a lot of people. I mean, this team's going to be pretty good next year. It's going to be something special to watch.
No question. I think if you compare it to last year, yes, it's very much a success. If you compare it to a typical year here at Rowan, it's one of those years. You know, we came short on winning the conference, came short on going to the playoffs, but based on last year's performance, certainly a very, very good football season and a great turnaround. You know, anytime you go 4-6 to 8-2, with the possibility of a bounce here, a bounce there, of being 10-0, it certainly was a very rewarding season.